Hey guys, this is Joselyn. I'm one of the learning assistants for 252 Lab. And I'm just gonna be, in this video, I'll just be doing a little run through of the cranial nerve person, which is kind of a visual way to remember the cranial nerves. And this is something that you can do when you get your exam and your blank sheet of paper, if you want to like sketch this out really quick so you can reference it throughout the quiz. That's something that I did when I took the class. So I've already written out the cranial nerves. So I just use the mnemonics that were taught in class. So, oh, once one takes the anatomy final, a very good vacation sounds heavenly. And then the mnemonic for like sensory or motor or both is some say marry money, but my brother says big brains matter more. Um, so I just write those out first, and then I've got my numbers on the side because that helps me a little bit. Um, but we will just get into our drawing here. Um, so I always like to start with 7 because it makes up the outside of the face. And 7, there's an important distinction between 5 and 7 in that they're both they're both like each controls sensory and motor functions, but those functions are different. So as I've written on my little note sheet here, 7 controls facial expression, and that's its motor function, and then the sensory function is taste. Which you guys will learn in later lessons that 7 controls like a bunch of facial muscles that help with like smiling and like scrunching your eyes or whatever. Um, so that's 7, and then I like to start with 5 after 7. Um, and so 5 is trigeminal, and the motor function of 5 is chewing, and the sensory function is just sensing certain stimuli in the facial, oral, and nasal cavities. And what I like about the 5 is it almost like points out to you the foramina which it passes through. So we can remember like this will make more sense later when I draw like the 2 for the eye, but it passes through the supraorbital foramina, the infraorbital foramina, and then the mental foramina. Um, so I really like that the 5 shows that. Also, another way to remember that is the 5th cranial nerve is the trigeminal nerve, and then tri is 3, and then you can put it on your face like a 3, and then like you can kind of see where it comes through. Um, but we'll keep going with our picture. Um, and then we have 1 for the nose. That's obviously olfactory. Um, then we have 8 for vestibular cochlear. And then I also like to draw 11, which is like the neck for the spinal accessory nerve. And get I'll wear a pin here. And then for the tongue, the little person has this like tongue sticking out, and all the nerves like associated with the tongue, you just kind of like write them right here. So it's 9, 10, and 12. And then for the eyes, we've got 2 for the optic nerve. And then around the 2, I kind of draw the nerves that control like the motor function of the eyes. So we've got 3, 4, and 6. Yeah. So that is our little person. I know it's kind of like abstract, but it's a really easy way to kind of like visually remind yourself where these nerves are located and where they come through. And we can also go over that really quickly. So I can draw some arrows. And so 8, the vestibular cochlear nerve, that is going to be associated with the, oh, sorry. It's going to be associated with the internal acoustic meatus, and the external as well. Then we have 5, which we already talked about. The supraorbital, infraorbital, and mental foramina. And then we have 1, which is associated with the cribriform plate. And then we have 3, 4, and 6, which are associated with the superior orbital fissure. So these are the most important ones for the first exam. You guys will learn like later applications of these, but in my opinion, like this was super helpful for the first exam. And if you have any questions about this, or I made any mistakes in this video, I will write my email in case anyone has questions about this. And then if my explanation didn't make sense, just looking up like cranial nerves person and cranial nerves man diagram, there's like, that's how I learned of it. It's just like Googling. But yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful.